Hello everyone, I'm the Weather Dude. Welcome back, and today we have a very major winter storm to talk about, a very major snowstorm to talk about. So without further ado, let's get into it. Before we get started with the video though, if you guys have not already, please consider subscribing. It really does help my channel grow. I want to thank you guys so much for 2,000 subscribers. We've flown past, and hopefully we can hit our next goal of 3,000 subscribers soon. And also, to help this video reach more people, please consider liking and sharing it as well. And let's get into the video now. So this winter storm is called Winter Storm Uri, and it is affecting a lot of people. As you saw in the thumbnail, hundreds of millions, in fact, over 100 million people are under some kind of winter weather alert related to this system. And it's not just the snow either, okay? It's the cold. I've seen temperatures in Texas today that have been like in the single digits at best in parts of northern Texas. Dallas was like in the teens. And don't talk about the nighttime, right? Negative double digits with wind chills worse than that. So the snow and the cold, very significant. And you can see February 20th through the 24th through the southeast, mid-Atlantic, and maybe even the south central, still looking like below average temperatures here. All right. And again, here, look at the winter weather alerts here. Okay. The entire states of Texas and Oklahoma, the entire state of Arkansas, most of Louisiana, Mississippi, all right, a good chunk of Alabama, a good chunk of Tennessee, pretty much the entire states of Ohio and Indiana. So basically, we're talking from New Mexico and Colorado all the way over to Vermont, right, is where we have those winter storm warnings, and pretty much everywhere in between. New Orleans, I wouldn't be surprised if you get a flake or two at the end, maybe even some sleet or freezing rain pellets very briefly at the end. I do believe, however, the winter weather advisory is just to your west, if I'm not mistaken. But New Orleans, you can still see some very light precip. But look at this. We're talking about all the way down in southern Texas, like around the Rio Grande region is under winter storm warning. Birmingham is under winter storm watch, I believe, still. All right. And not only that, it's not just winter storm and winter weather alerts. We have ice storm warnings for Charleston, West Virginia, eastern Kentucky, southeastern and eastern PA, as well as northwestern New Jersey, extreme southern New York. We have ice storm warnings there as well. All right. And even actually for a very small sliver of New Mexico and Texas, we have if you can see right there, that's where we have a blizzard warning. All right. But no widespread blizzard conditions. And the snowfall is not going to be, it's not going to be a ton of snowfall. And yes, it will be a lot of snowfall. Okay. Without a doubt, it's a lot of snowfall. But it's not going to be like feet of snow we're talking about. And you might be thinking, well, then why is this storm such a huge deal? Well, the amount of people it's affecting, like 100 million, like practically like a third or maybe even close to a half of the people in this country are going to be affected by this. Not only that, but just how far south the wintry precip goes, how far south these winter storm warnings go, Midland, Corpus Christi, Houston, even closer to New Orleans even. All right, so that's really the significant part of the storm, and not to mention the cold that goes with it as well. All right. Here's some snowfall forecast totals here through Monday night. Houston, so Houston's kind of like a dividing line because south of town you might see like 2 to 4 inches. Metro probably like 3 to 6, and then north of town is like 5 to 9 or 5 to 8. All right, so Houston's like right on the dividing line. All right, it's pretty interesting. Northern Louisiana though, from northern Louisiana all the way through about Cincinnati, so basically from not too far from Shreveport and Alexandria through Cincinnati is where you're going to find those higher totals, those 8 to 12 inch totals. And don't worry, because Winter Storm Viola that comes in next is going to bring even more snow. All right. So don't worry about that. Dallas, probably 3 to 6, probably 5 to 8, just off to your south and east. Little Rock, again, also a dividing line, 3 to 5, but just to your south and east, 5 to 8. All right. So this is that's your snowfall forecast for there. And then if we go to the northeast, notice the I-95 corridor. Pretty much every I-95 corridor major metropolitan city will be left out of this, except for Boston. Maybe 1 to 3 inches for Boston. Not a major event for you guys. You guys are seeing much worse. New York, Philly, and D.C., maybe some brief icing. But overall, should not be too bad. Especially if you live south and east of the 95 corridor, you're pretty much definitely in the clear for this. But Columbus, all right, 8 to 12. Pittsburgh, 5 to 8. But again, northwest, just to your north and west, 8 to 12. Same goes for you in Williamsport. Albany, same for you, just to your north and west. I think the highest totals that it looks like we can see 1 foot to 1.5 feet. The Green and White Mountains, some mountainous regions in New Hampshire, Vermont, and New York could see 12 to 18 inches here. And again, you look at the oscillations, and these hint at that we could see a changing pattern. Notice how the AO just is forecast to skyrocket, all right, by mid to late February, right? The NAO is going to keep trending upwards, and the PNA, all right, is actually going to be trending downwards. So all of these lead to a changing pattern, basically almost the opposite of what we're seeing now. So we could see this pattern finally break, these train of winter storms here, all right? And look at the ice probabilities too as well, all right? Corpus Christi even does have a low chance of seeing a tenth of an inch or more, but from Lake Charles, Jackson, Mississippi, all the way up through Tennessee, through Charleston, West Virginia, high probabilities to see a tenth of an inch of ice or more, and then same goes for just northwest of New York City. All right, I-95 corridor will not be left out of this ice-wise. D.C. got a low chance of seeing a tenth of an inch or more. Philly, I would say probably a medium chance. All right, and same goes for New York, medium chance, maybe closer to a high chance. And Boston, a low chance to see a tenth of an inch or more. So I-95 corridor not going to be left out of this. Should not be very much ice, but again, it doesn't take much to cause problems. We know that. South and east of the 95, though, it should be mostly, if not all, rain for you guys. All right, so here we have now models, and because again this is such a huge system, I kept the map zoomed out so you can see the continental U.S. as a whole. We have 4 models actually. We have the GFS, the European, the Canadian, and the NAM model as well. All right, so here's a storm, right? Very exciting storm, and you can see the low forming right over the Gulf of Mexico. This is going to be pulling moisture from the Gulf of Mexico. All right, and that's why the snow's going to get so far south, because we have the Arctic air, right? We have that high, bringing the Arctic air down, and you got the Gulf of Mexico moisture. And remember, this is Gulf of Mexico moisture we're talking about, right? Like these are two very, very different air masses, right? So this is, this is going to be one heck of a snowstorm, and snow that usually never gets as far south. So enjoy it while it lasts is all I have to say. All right. You can see the low moves throughout the Gulf Coast. You can see we have the precipitation. We got the snow coming through, right? And it moves on to the north. And again, some heavier snows also break out throughout northern New England. Of course, notice the ice in the middle here. Of course, according to the GFS, though, could be some ice initially out ahead of it, maybe some lighter icing. We did, of course, I had some ice yesterday, right? I believe it was yesterday. I am losing track of time. Today is Sunday. Yeah, so we did have some ice yesterday. It was actually a good tenth of an inch for where I was, but there could be some more ice out of the system as well. And the storm as a whole should leave the United States by very late Tuesday night, if not on the Wednesday. And then, I won't quite go that far yet, because we're talking about Uri today, but Winter Storm Viola will eventually start up again. And this could be interesting for the East Coast on Thursday and Friday. All right, very interesting as well. So, snowfall totals just with Uri, what we're talking about here. These purplish colors, this is like your 6 to 10 region, pretty much going from, again, Texas, Louisiana, all the way through Maine. All right, this is going to be it's going to be a moderate to heavy snow event, right? Again, not outstanding snow. Look at this. They actually have an inch or two of snow over the Gulf of Mexico. You see that? That's really interesting, actually. I don't know if that's a glitch in the model or not, because usually they don't put the snow totals over the ocean like that. That's weird. But anyway, moderate to heavy snow, right? Nothing too significant, right? I mean, it is very significant, but nothing like feet of snow like we saw in California not that long ago, right? But it's going to be covering such a wide span of the United States. It's going to go much farther south than usual. All right, so that's why, again, this is very significant. 6 to 12 inches. Up in the Northeast, northern New England, you guys probably have the best chance to see a good foot of snow, maybe even more than that. All right, so ice totals with the GFS model, again, they have a very, very solid stripe of heavy ice. All right, and where that narrow quarter lines up, you guys are going to see some very dangerous icing. All right, so southeastern Mississippi out through Tennessee, I see 0.6. Closer to an inch, actually, in central Tennessee, as you saw right there. And then GFS model forecast slightly less ice, but still half inch, very deadly for the Northeast. So very intense ice from this as well. Next model we have is the European model, good old European model. Good to have you back. All right. And you can see, here's the low, right, dipping down south. And you can see Houston is pretty much in the snow at this point by Monday morning, all right, tomorrow morning, basically when you're waking up. Look at Louisiana, Mississippi, a lot of icing going on, a lot of heavy freezing rain. It's not just freezing rain, it's heavy freezing rain. And again, because we're getting that Gulf of Mexico moisture, right, there will be some thunder. I mean, it wouldn't be surprised if some areas saw some thunder snow, thunder sleet, thunder ice, which is basically like thunder freezing rain. That doesn't sound too yeah, I call it thunder ice. All right, but yes, there could be some, and of course, thunderstorms where the air is too warm, of course. All right, and then Tuesday morning, I mean, a good thing about this storm is it's moving, right? As you can see, Monday morning at 8 a.m., 7 a.m. or so, the storm is around Texas, Louisiana. There will be some snow showers out ahead of it, so we could see some smaller little disturbances, Ohio, Pennsylvania, but the storm itself is still the low pressure center is in the Gulf of Mexico by Monday 7 a.m. or so, and by Tuesday 7 a.m. it's already in the northeast. All right, and actually there could be a good gust front of thunderstorms. Maybe some severe weather down in Florida, maybe even the East Coast. Could even see a gusty thunderstorm or two. Nothing severe though for the Mid-Atlantic. Nothing severe is forecast. Snow totals, again, similar to the GFS model. Models seem to agree now on that 6 to 12 inch band setting up right there. And that's good that the models are agreeing because, of course, it helps us to better forecast with confidence. And, of course, it's always nice to see the models agreeing with each other. Houston, probably a close call for you, but I'd say good 3 to 5, 3 to 6 for Houston. Now, Corpus Christi, Brownsville down there, you notice there's not as much snow. Then why are you under a winter storm warning? Well, because of the ice. I think ice will definitely be a bigger issue down there. The entire state of Texas and Oklahoma, like I said, is under a winter storm warning. All right, that is a very big deal, even down to the Rio Grande region, of course, as I mentioned earlier. All right, next model we have is the Canadian model, and I'd say this is the more interesting out of the models I've looked at because instead of a lot more freezing rain, they have a heavy sleet, so maybe thunder sleet is possible. All right, and of course we got some snow because Tabitha is still kind of moving out, so to speak, right? Like this is Monday afternoon, and this is what was left of Tabitha is still off the coast. So, and you got the high right here, so you're going to be seeing lake effect snow coming down through the northeast, and that's going to be combining with Winter Storm Uri. So that's going to make snowfall totals by the Great Lakes regions, I think, a little bit more enhanced. All right, and you can see the low pressure center is right over top of Philadelphia at this point, is where the low center is. Got a good amount of ice, got a good amount of sleet. Of course, snowfall. I mean, they're actually calling for the sleet to go pretty far north. Like we're talking about Vermont, New Hampshire, New York, even Maine seeing sleet. It's only the extreme northern parts of New York, extreme northern Vermont, that really sees the snow and all snow, right? So mixing is going to get pretty far north of this particular system. And even for northern Vermont and northern New Hampshire, it could end as sleet, all right? Which is sleet and ice is, of course, it's great, especially for those of you that love sledding. When you get snow and you get sleet and ice on top of it, makes it great for sledding. Trust me from experience, it's really good for sledding. So, of course, getting some sleet isn't all that bad, but it does cut down on your snow totals a bit. But according to this model, we could see in central western New York, of course, with that slight lake enhancement, could see totals as high as 13, 14 inches there with those tiny red dots that you see. But overall, again, there's your 6 to 12 inch band. That's not quite. There we go. That 6 to 12 inch band setting up right there. So I think the models are definitely agreeing on where that 6 to 12 is going to set up, right? So pretty much, again, from eastern Texas, northern Louisiana, and then all the way up through New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, as well as Maine. Ice totals with this model, very interesting as well, because from northern central Pennsylvania through like western Massachusetts, the snowfall totals, or ice totals, I should say, do get over an inch, which is a lot. I think that's a little overdone personally. But you can see the ice getting as far south as the Louisiana coastline, same areas that were affected by like Hurricane Laura in the last hurricane season and now getting hit by an ice storm. What a year. What a year. Combined 2020 and the beginning of 2021. It's like, in terms of, from a weather perspective, it's been a really chaotic year so far already. Similar to how 2020 was from a weather perspective. All right, and again, you can see very heavy ice to the northeast, even down through the Ohio and Tennessee valleys, down to Galveston, to the coastline, Texas, Louisiana. I mean, just don't think that just because you're on the immediate shoreline. I mean, yes, you will get warm influence from the Gulf of Mexico, but that's not going to be helping considering the Arctic air is already in place. All right, and our last model that we have is the NAM model, specifically a NAM 12KM, but it's basically like the NAM model. And you can see there's a low in the Gulf of Mexico. This is Monday mid-morning or so, 10, 11 o'clock. You got your sleet and freezing rain breaking out across Mississippi, Alabama. All right, and again, because Winter Storm, I believe there's been so many. Tabitha, I was getting ready to say Shirley, but that was a while ago. Tabitha is still moving out, so you're going to have some lake enhancement. Of course, when you combine the counterclockwise flow this way from this low pressure and a very strong high that's going to be pumping it in the air like this, you're going to see some lake enhancement. All right, and again, areas that do live near the lakes could enhance your totals a little bit more. You got your snow breaking out across northeast. Again, mixing will get pretty far north, so just because you live in central PA, northern PA, you guys will still mix with ice and even go over to rain maybe for a little bit. And most areas may not go back to snow if you do go over to rain. All right, so snow totals, the NAM model puts the highest. You see one little spot seeing 12 inches and that's just near and just south of Little Rock. But again, that 6 to 12 band, again, pretty much set up exactly the same. I'm glad to see all the models are agreeing at this point. So this is basically what you can expect, right? From northeastern Texas all the way through Maine, highlight in this region is where you could see your 6 to 12 inch snowfall totals. And of course, with mesoscale banding, of course, those mesoscale discussions that come out courtesy of the National Weather Service, you could get some banding 1 to 2 inches an hour. Of course, it's certainly possible. So maybe some totals, especially when you get into the Northeast, with mesoscale banding, maybe over a foot of snow is certainly possible. And finally, wrap it up here. Ice totals with the NAM model, even way far into Mississippi, maybe over an inch of ice, although I think that's a little bit high, to be honest. I think some places could get over a quarter, maybe even over a half an inch, but I think an inch is a little bit too much. I think Tabitha and Shirley were our ice storms here, or Tabitha, I should say, was our ice storm across the Tennessee Valley. So very interesting winter storm, very, very much of a big deal for sure. Definitely, if you don't have to, definitely do not travel if you don't have to. Okay, we got another storm on its way as well. It's right on its heels. And then after Winter Storm Viola, maybe we'll finally take a break from the winter storms. All right, as much as I love this, though, I'm sure all of us after a while do say, there needs to be a break. But I love to see the snow come. But just hopefully everyone stays safe. I am the Weather Dude, signing off till next time. I will catch you guys in the next video.